But now I'm thinking, I'm sort of having a conflict in my head, that if there is this possibility, it will mean that maybe, for example, in a kingdom, or say maybe the king or the ruler of the land will be most protected in a situation like this, so that he cannot be captured when the enemy came. Why I'm saying that is that I am coming from a small town that is called Urumi in Edo State. When the British came to conquer Nigeria, they captured the Onoji of Urumi. His name is Obehi. He was a very strong king actually in Urumi. So I would want to believe now that if there is any of these things really work, it should work for him, because of course he is the king of Urumi, meaning there is no person that is more important than the king of Urumi, to be protected in a situation like this. Of course, he was exiled 2 times, and not of course only he. And I'm not talking of many years ago. I'm talking of only a few hundreds of years ago. At the same time, Obehi Ewanfoh was also captured by the British, and he would die in Calabar. Of course, you know this, in 1914. So yes. What I'm actually reasoning, what I'm thinking is that if this power were there, did they not use it for these leaders? Because who could be more powerful in the Benin Empire at the time than Obehi Ewanfoh? And if those power were there, why would they not use it to protect them against the enemy, which in this case are the Europeans who are coming to capture our king? So that is what I'm trying to understand here.
There's an antidote, I will tell you, to everything and every power that is prepared. There is a neutralizer, and it also meant how was this person captured, aware or unaware, was he sleeping or bathing? Because most of those powers, when you do them, there is still some ornaments you have to wear, and you will be told, do not let water touch it, or do not let oil touch it, and then they will avoid all that. So most of the people who did that, when the time they are eating, they will remove those bangles to make sure oil does not touch it. So if then that issue happens at that time, that person will be captured. It's either that, or either the person decides to yield to the arrest, not knowing what to do. Besides, I do not think that the Oba of Urumi, like you have mentioned, yielded. Probably in all 12, there is always a Judah. Probably he has got a Judah in the house who is a betrayer, who knew when he is powerless. And I will repeat, who knew when he is powerless. And I will explain that. When he is powerless means that when he did not put the ornaments, or when he did not place those things that he's supposed to put in place before the enemy, or when he was unexpectant of the war, or probably the capture, and then the intruder relied on, a Judah who is inside, and then the Judah betrayed the Oba. That's why it is said that in any theft or robbery that happens, there must always be an insider. I'm saying this, that you asked that question. Obviously, I'm saying back to you that there is no how that the kings of the past did not do those mutis. They were protected. They did all those. When I say muti, I'm using South African word now, which means they did not do those charms, or they do not pass through those initiation, because there is no other person that needs more protection than a king of a kingdom. He is the protector of the kingdom, as assumed, and he is to be protected. So much protection processes and factors are being laid on the king. So I repeat, so that will be strongly aired, that there is no king who did not do that. The recent kings decide to chicken in and say, no, I am I am a Christian, I wouldn't do that. And then they leave it. And which I had said that Christianity was one of the factors that reduced our people to nothing. Because in the past, we were relying on all this muti. As a matter of fact, when you invite a king, or even a soothsayer, or a native doctor, or whatever it might be called, to a meeting, he does not need to walk down there. He appears in the crowd of people. Those powers were still working. If there is rainmakers, what do you think? These are powers that are embroidered into initiation. And it has to be your choice to say, this is the power I want, and who you are and why you want that power. So if I have answered your question, I said that the kings, there is no kings, there is no chiefdom, no prime minister of a kingdom that did not pass through that process.
That is very interesting. I appreciate that response. And of course, he did point out that there are usually the betrayer among the people. That should be true in the case of Obehi Ewanfoh of the Benin Kingdom at the time, and also King the Onoji of Uromi at the time. And of course, in many other places. Of course, for that, I'm not going to proceed with that case as much because we are not specifically on that argument. Even though I would have more things to ask there, because, like I said, these things are not self-explanatory. Many people don't understand them. And sometimes we don't make the effort to make them understand. And sometimes people just go around with speculation because, of course, they don't know. So they can't, they don't know what they don't know sometimes. Anyway.
So the Bible actually said it. The Bible actually said it that my people perishes due to lack of knowledge. The knowledge you do not have, the knowledge of something you don't know, you can die of it.
A good example is you cannot jump to a 10-story building and say, well, I don't know if I jump down from here, I will die. Well, how you are going to test it? If you jump down, you are going to positively die. You cannot put your hand on electricity and say, I don't believe in the power of electricity. No, those things you don't believe in, that thing will act on you, whether you know it or not. Yeah, so
that's correct. That's correct.
All right. So now I'm sort of curious. Now we have those powers that are supposed to. The other day I was interviewing a scholar who is also very knowledgeable about African culture, and we were even talking about the concept of witchcraft. Because you did say something just now that at a point when you invited maybe the chiefs or the king to a meeting, they don't usually need to walk there. They just appear there. See, those things we don't understand it. We don't understand what have happened. So this man was explained. I have done a lot of interview with him. I still plan more to do with him relating to African culture, African spirituality, and African tradition. Because I believe that it is our duty to explain them to for the people to understand. In that there are these spiritual warfare and instruments that are used to maybe either to survive, to defend ourselves and all that. They are not all selfless. They are not in the open. Sometimes they are in the open, but you don't understand them. In Egypt, for example, there were the school of, I think they call it the school of mystery, where you don't go there for 2 years. Some people go there for all their life studying about this mystery of life. So
agreed.
There are knowledge out there. But if I don't understand it, then for me, it's just a speculation until you explain it to me. So what I'm trying to understand, what I'm trying to ask you really is, what is the transition that we are having, the transition that we are having now between those who know this power and the generation that we have today who do not know this power? What is happening? I mean, do we have the possibility of able to have those powers so that they can be put to use to the people? Or do we allow it to just disappear without knowing them? Because this power that we're talking about, that sometimes it only depends on the interpretation. So very soon, we will start understanding those powers from the point of view of medicine. Medicine in the sense that somebody is sick, he needs to combine certain herbs in the forest and it will be well again. So we start seeing that from very high mystic thing to something very physical. It can be also in how to organize a people to have a common interest, to have a common bond, because they are united as a people, but they are united around something. So I believe that these things need to be understood. So are we having the transition? These people that are probably old, they are dying off, and the younger people that are coming up today, are they having an understanding of that knowledge, or are we going to at a point totally forget them? We won't know anything about it anymore.
Okay, the challenge we have here, this is a very lengthy question, but I will break it. The challenge we have there is that the youths and the present people of African continent we have today has been polluted. And I do not blame them. I do not blame them because it is one of the divide and rule laws. To make them feel less person, they say that you cannot boil or get some herbs and drink in a cup, whereas you're supposed to put it into Nagestics and drink it in tablets. Then you are taking overdose. Overdose becomes what is behind you as the youths of today. Now you go back again to this issue of initiation, where you have these powers. They will tell you it's fetish. You are worshiping other god, and they call it black power. Now the youths and the people we have become very polluted and have that mentality that if they go through that route, now they are practicing witchcraft. Now they are becoming fetish. Now they are not children of God and all that. Who said so? The point and the question I keep asking is, all our ancestors who passed on, you want to say they do not know God? The problem is, there are those who use these powers for evil purposes, and there are those who use it in a white way. You know, white way in this, I'm not talking of white color, I'm talking of in terms of positive way. They use it. And those who use it positively do not stand their hands. When you go to them and say you want to kill, they have the power to kill, but they tell you, hey, get out of my shrine. I don't kill. Get out. And when they say get out, they mean get out. If you do not, they invoke the ancestors against you. And there are those who you go to who say, oh, okay, you want to kill? Well, it's in your hand. All right, you say your words and confess that to your chi, confess that to your God, confess that to whatever you value more, to say that you are here and you know the consequences of killing. It will be on your head. The ritualist or the priest have said it and has said it. So what am I saying in a nutshell? I am saying that we have youths who are crying, who are, the sympathizers who cries more than they bereave. They copy so much from the Western world. They are copycats. They are copying too much, more than the value of those who even say that they initiated that. In order to have this thing running passed into generation to generation, then we must continue with inductions and workshops. Then we must not be discouraged even when we are not allowed in some certain things. In some different parts of Africa, I don't want to be too specific, they are discouraging initiation. They are discouraging circumcision. Why? Why would you discourage that? No, don't do it. What? Go to these professionals. Before the professionals came out, our forefathers were circumcised. Were they dead? The question is, were they dead? They weren't dead after circumcision. They were strong and healthy. Now you are telling me that you want the native doctor or the herbal doctor who has been surviving and living on that to be discouraged because you have introduced white doctors. What happened to the previous ones? So it is time for us to continue to encourage our people by inductions and workshop, irrespective of whatever it takes. We stand headlock to say, you know what? This circumcision has to continue. This initiation has to continue. The process of our forefathers should not be left behind. Then it means we have the youths that wants to have the hereditary of their fathers, who wants a pass on of what their kingdoms has been doing. But if we have the kind of youths who will tell you that, no man, that's fetish, what's up, you want to bring me into this and that and that, no, these cultures will die. There will be no history. There will be nothing to present to the next generation. This is my take.